Okay, so I haven't had an idea for a song. That's right, I haven't had an idea. But I'm about to start the 7-day timer, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is actually in terms of how March is going to pan out, this is probably my freest week. So I figured if I don't write it now, I'm actually probably going to struggle to write it this month. And the second reason is because I want to prove that there's really no such thing as writer's block. A few years ago I got quite bogged down in this concept that basically, nothing's coming, sort of thing. But I'm pretty sure that I can come up with an idea. And today I'm going to be thinking about various different things and seeing if I can actually get something to come out. The only thing that I've got buzzing around in my head at this particular point is a conversation I had with my friend Ollie Brophy the other day. He was asking me questions about how I'd written songs before, particularly things that I'd written with my band, The Usual Ones. And he was saying about how every song is clearly based on an experience that I've had in my life and how it must be exhausting. Although that's another conversation in itself, it did make me think that maybe I could try and write a song that has absolutely no meaning behind it. I know it sounds a bit of a strange thing to say, but there are quite a few songs out there that do have that kind of nonsensy feel to them, but actually still quite good songs. I instantly think of Life on Mars by David Bowie, and how that was apparently used by cutting up lots of rhyming couplets to make them work. So I figured I could do something like that, and maybe people can infer some level of meaning from it afterwards. It's just going to be how I put together those little pieces of nonsense. So I haven't really done anything like this before. This is my first ever meaningless song, if you like. And it'd be really interesting to see how it pans out. But other than that, at this point, I have absolutely no idea. So, unsurprisingly, a cup of tea on the go. Hopefully today something will occur to me. So in previous videos I mentioned that when I'm out and about I tend to make ideas as notes in my iPhone. In situations like this, when I've got quite a short time scale and I need to come up with an idea, sometimes I can find little lines in those notes. So what I've decided to do is to take that to an extreme, and I'm going to build this song entirely out of my iPhone notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through right back from when I got my first iPhone, which I think was in 2013, which is quite a long time ago now. So I'm going to put together this collage lyric. So you can now join me as I delve deep into my iPhone notes. Let's start off right from the beginning. A very good place to start, apparently. The first note in here says, "Remember the turtle joke for the party." Right, can't really use that. This appears to be some kind of cake recipe. 1 kilogram of plain flour, seems like a lot. 500 grams of caster sugar. 4 pints of milk. And sticks of unsalted butter. Okay. This appears to be some kind of travel itinerary. Spend a night in Lucerne, get a train to Vienna really early on. That's quite good, I'll write that down. This is actually predating when I had song ideas, so a lot of this is basically just shopping lists. Maybe something useful will come up there. My petit déjeuner was nowhere to be found. Petit for Lou. We're to 2015 now. Let's be like tourists, exploring places we've been before, but in a new light. Brackets, up-tempo, exciting, bright song. We're back into an era of shopping lists now. 100 grams of blueberries, I don't even know if they come in that sort of denomination. Put on a nice dress, I'll pick you up at 8. Have tickets for a show, we don't want to be late. Another little bonus one for you there. Pristine lawns. Trees that feel much older than the ground that holds them steady. Definitely changed that line in the end. Green corridors and winter's edge. That's 2016. The fact of the matter is I'd probably be quite good for you. Not an awful lot of bitterness so far, which I'm quite surprised at. You used to kiss me while we waited for the lights to change. It's like Usual One's bingo, this, isn't it? The smell of ash on ice, that's another one. This glass of 16-year-old told me that I'd find you here. That's definitely when I'm in Edinburgh. Yeah, August 2016. Straight from the bottle. I want to know everything about you. I assume that's not some kind of Data Protection Act infringing sentiment. I assume it's meant to be quite romantic. Breakfast at midday. But isn't it the most wonderful thing? Yeah. I asked him how he knew. He told me it was written all over your face. I hope it doesn't drive you crazy, because that's what it does to me. Happiness suits us. We should wear it every day. Isn't that lovely? and there hasn't been a single day that you have slipped my mind. For anyone who made it that far into the album, they will know that line. Yeah, we're well into Here of All Places territory now. For those of you that haven't heard that album, my album with the usual ones. It should have been you. Okay. It can only be romantic if it's unfulfilled. Starting to get a bit of a vibe for what this song's going to be like now, you know. It's you and me in 2016. You have permission to find me boring. What? Staring down the barrel of a bad idea. And that night they told me you weren't all you were cracked up to be. Is where the bitterness kicks in of whatever point in my life this is. Oh dear, that's embarrassing. I'm definitely not going to read this to you. Let me guess, you love the way it feels. A song every month, take a week to write it, document the process, and here we are. I'm sitting with Zoella in the Festive Radio Times. Shout out to me. My arm's really starting to hurt now. I genuinely don't think I've written this much since I was at school. I can get by without the pretty things, but I can't get by without you. She said, I love you. I said, I know. Got a bit of Star Wars in there for you. Make no mistake about it. The cards are dealt and I'm all in. Who you were, who you are, and who you're going to be. And I think that's it. I think that's very much the end of the iPhone notes. That's a lot to process. That's nearly 3.5 pages of just phrases and ideas. I imagine if I give it some time and meditate on it, I'll be able to actually put something together from this. This has been quite an interesting walk down memory lane. So in a recent development, I actually bought a GoPro. And when I bought the GoPro, I thought I'd be able to get some slightly more interesting footage. The reality is quite different. If I point the camera that way, it's great because it's basically just me travelling and you get to see where I'm going. But from this way, it just looks like one of the shots where Alan Partridge is driving around in his Rover. I feel like I should be pitching ideas to Lynn for terrible TV shows. Monkey tennis, youth hosteling with Chris Eubank, etc. But anyway, this morning I'm on my way to get some milk. I know that sounds quite unexciting, and I don't want to enforce the Yorkshire stereotype too much, but I'm actually going to buy it directly from a farm. They even give you little glass bottles and things like that. It's very cool. But I figured what I'd actually do is use the journey to think through some of the ideas that I've had. Now at the moment I'm going through a bit of a Paul Simon phase. Now I say a Paul Simon phase, I mean like I've always loved his work, but I'm listening to a lot of it at the moment. And I think that Paul Simon's writing style could be a good influence on this project because he is the master of the collage. Throw all your lyrics out and then when you get to the end of it you go, oh okay, that's what it means, but you know, until then you could be quite perplexed by the nature of the lyric. And I think considering that I'm assembling this from iPhone notes, it's probably a good idea to think of it like that. I also really like the idea of performing it live. I know that sounds like an odd thing to say, but in the last two songs I've relied upon production in order to keep it all together. I expect that this week will actually not necessarily be about recording, it will be about rehearsing the song when it's written over and over again in order to improve the final performance of the song, which is going to be quite interesting, I think. Also, it has been such a long time since I've genuinely tracked anything live. It's kind of terrifying. I really heavily rely on production, and this will be a big lesson for me in actually performing the work. Dumpling, what are you doing? Where are you going? Okay, yeah, is that where you want to be? So I've been sat playing guitar for the last little while, and I've decided to base this month's song on a duet. Now I know that sounds a bit of a strange thing. I've decided to... Dumpling, what are you doing? Come on. I've decided to base this month's song on a duet, a famous duet. Idea being that actually what I do, rather than just playing the acoustic guitar and voice live, I do that twice. So there's two of me, but I'm performing with myself, if that makes sense. The songs that I've got in mind are things like Mrs. Robinson, Two of Us by the Beatles. You're not excited by this at all, aren't you? He doesn't get to sit on my bed very often, so I think he's trying to make the most of it, exploring, etc. So it'll be two acoustic guitars, two voices, but it will be me doing it live, and I'll probably do a video that sort of reflects that. Probably work on doing some kind of cloning video, so it's like me performing with me in the studio. I like the idea of it being quite upbeat, something like that. Looking back through the notes from yesterday, the things that I've written down kind of suit an upbeat song more. So I think I'm going to work with that. So, guitar duo. Dumpling, where you going, mate? Come here. Upbeat and sort of 60s inspired. Now, before I even go and look through the lyrics, I must admit there's one particular line that's been going around in my head that I wrote down yesterday. I hope it doesn't drive you crazy, because that's what it did to me. Now, when I was sat with the guitar, and I'm obviously now sat at a piano just because I want to confuse you, I do actually prefer to write that kind of thing at the piano, particularly when it comes to vocal harmonies, because until I actually perform it, there's no way that I can practice it on my own, if that makes sense. Got this nice little chord sequence. I'm thinking it might be something that appears before a chorus. I hope it doesn't drive you crazy, because that's what it did to me. Like that. But like last time, I think the next logical step is actually to look at the lyrics rather than look at the music, because I've got a feeling of the kind of song I want to write in my head, so it's just a case of shaping the lyrics around that. There may even be a line that I've written that fits into the same sort of framework as I hope it doesn't drive you crazy, because that's what it did to me. That would be extremely lucky if it did. But if I look through, maybe I can find a matching line in there. It's also nice to just kind of sit and play every now and then, you know. I've been extremely lucky with this. I've actually managed to find a line that sort of works in the same way as I hope it doesn't drive you crazy, because that's what it does to me, that's what it did to me. I can get by without the pretty things, but I can't get by without you. Kind of fits the same sort of lyrical space, which is great. The interesting thing about looking through a lot of these words is you can tell which ones are like chorus lines, which ones are verse lines, which ones are middle eight lines. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this and actually mark things and go, this is a verse lyric, this is a chorus lyric. I know it's a bit of a loose thing to do, but it might work, because obviously what I've got is like a collage. I know I keep saying that. I've said it so many times in the last 2 days that it's kind of lost all meaning as well. So it's a new day, and last night I actually managed to come up with a chorus. I don't know how it happened. I wrote it all down and I've looked at it again, and it's quite cool. What's even more amazing is that even though I'm piecing it together from things that aren't related, it does make some sense, or at least you can infer that it makes sense. Also through pressure, and that's definitely what it is. I've actually managed to come up with all of the chord sequences for the various bits, but I'm giving myself a lot of freedom with the verse, because I decided that it's actually going to be kind of a kind of thing going on. I'm actually not very good at tapping the guitar like that, and I've got to get quite good at it in the next 48 hours apparently, which is going to be interesting. I'm also thinking that what I'll do is I'll record a guide track to play underneath when I'm recording. So when I record the two parts separately, I have something to follow the first time I play, with like the proper tempo and the proper structure and things like that. I know that's cheating a little bit, but also it's going to make me the most relaxed in that situation, and that way I can perform the track to the best of my ability. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that I've actually booked a haircut on Thursday in the afternoon, and I think that's actually going to play to my advantage, and you'll understand why. Because I'm going to record the first take before the haircut and the second take afterwards. So it's going to be like two different versions of myself. And I figured I could play off that a little bit because these duos never seem to get along for a very long time. So I figured what I could do is have a fake argument with myself, something like that. But we'll see. But what that actually means is that I've got to get the first take done before 3 o'clock on Thursday. So I think the next stage is actually to choose the first line of the song. I know that sounds like a weird thing to do, but I'm going to choose the first line and then I'm going to walk away. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the first line of a song is easily the most important. In fact, that'd be interesting. Why don't you comment with your favourite opening line from a song? I'd love to hear what your favourite opening lines are. Because to me it's very significant. There's no point in having a weak opening line, otherwise you're off to a bad start, aren't you? So what I'm looking for here is a cornerstone, a line that will hold the rest of the song together. You're right up there. Being a guard dog. He just barked at the Amazon man. So I've been out and about doing a few things, but now I'm settled in for the night and I'm ready to sort of finish the lyrics ready for tomorrow. Like I said earlier, I really need to get it done. I am going to change quite a few lyrics as I go along. Only minor alterations to the lines that I originally got out of my iPhone, and that's only because I think if I don't do that, it's not going to make any sense. So even though it's meaningless, it still has to make sense. So for example, if something's in the present tense, changing it to past, to make it suit another lyric is definitely a better idea than writing something that just grammatically sounds dreadful. It's my intention to sit here for a while now and just get that done. Today's mug of choice is the composer's mug, which has Beethoven, Vivaldi, Schubert, Chopin, Handel, Verdi, Haydn and Tchaikovsky on it. Some Instagram pics there, and then some fun facts about them on the back. There's something quite odd about looking Handel directly in the eye as you have a cup of tea though, I must admit. It's a beautiful sunny morning here in Yorkshire. The ice is slowly melting, so to speak. Last night I finished the lyrics in a sense. I still think that I'm going to have to make some little changes as I start singing it, but it's my intention today to sort of really consolidate what I've got and not think too much about the second vocal part and the second guitar part because I'll have to do those on Thursday, but really I need to prioritise getting the first acoustic guitar and the first vocal part recorded because otherwise it's going to be a bit silly. So I'm going to move up to the piano very shortly and start moving through some of the melody ideas up there. It does kind of work better in this situation. Then I think I'll come back to the guitar later on. I just spent quite a sizable chunk of time just going through and hammering the melody out, and I think it sounds really good. I think I've managed to come up with a few things that I wouldn't have done if I was just sat with an acoustic guitar. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I actually think it sounds quite good. Considering that this is like the shortest timescale I've written a song on at all. I mean, on paper came together quickly, but I was able to sort of build that, whereas this is done. This is actually a finished song, which is remarkable to me. I've got myself a little mock set up for this, and I'm going to see if it works. Might have to spend a couple of hours sort of moving things around, but my plan is to persevere until I get something that works. Because tomorrow I want to run very smoothly. So this kind of counts as rehearsal time in a way. So yeah, let's see how I get on with this. Hello, it is the morning of day 5? Yes, day 5. And we're just getting ready to record now. I say we, I mean I. The first thing I'm going to do is take half of the cover photo, because obviously after I've had my haircut I'm going to look quite different. So the idea is the cover's either going to be like a split down the middle or like a sideways facing thing. So I'm going to try a few things. I have a funny feeling if I don't do that now, the single cover will not make sense because I'll forget. Okay, I'm just going to run it through a couple of times now. I've got it all set up, I've got my in-ears in, and I'm ready to sort of practice it a couple of times. I'm not going to turn the cameras on yet though, because that really does add an element of pressure. So I'm going to rehearse it 2 or 3 times, get my voice warmed up, and go from there. Okay, so this is the current setup. Got the GoPro on the wall, which has just decided to turn itself off to save battery. I'm going to be sat there for the first half. Got the computer totally out of shot, I hope. And this camera's on this side of the room, so tomorrow I can put that over there. The GoPro is capturing like a master shot overall. I'm going to start that recording now, actually. Boop. I've come away to have a bit of a break because even though it's going quite well, I feel like I just need to give myself 10 minutes with a cup of tea, obviously, before I go back and hopefully finish it off. I've got about an hour after this break, because it's about 10 to 1 now. Got about an hour before I then need to head out again. So yeah, it's going quite well. So I think I've done it. I think I've actually managed to record the first half. My voice is a little worn out just from doing it over and over again, which is not a huge surprise to me. But also I'm just gonna walk away. I think the 24th take that I did is perfect, and I'm gonna leave it at that. All about being less of a perfectionist. It is meant to be a live version, it's not perfect, but 24 had a lot of energy. And after that I carried on, and actually the psychology of, you know, oh, I've already got something done, this is fine, really helped me. So I'm actually gonna get ready to go out now, have another cup of tea, and head out to have my hair cut. So yeah, goodbye long hair. It's actually not a terrible day today. Just sort of savouring my last few moments of long hair as I walk through Doncaster Town Centre. Regent's Park specifically, not to be confused with the one in London. So here we are, freshly trimmed. This is a nice little bonus feature because it's almost like the old me and the new me combined, wearing the clothes that I wore for the first take and with the hair from the second. So yes, aren't you so lucky? Okay, so I've got back and I've decided I'm going to wait until tomorrow to actually record the second part of it. I am going to practice it tonight, but instead I'm just going to rest my voice and prepare. The lighting isn't quite right as well, and I really want it to match up as best as I can, because obviously I do want to create the illusion that there are 2 of me, as terrifying as that concept may be to some of you. But yes, in the meantime I'm going to do all the preparation I can to get ready for tomorrow. Hello, we're back and we're ready to do it all over again. Okay, second day of filming, so we've got pretty much everything done. I've already filmed like a little skit at the beginning with some tea, which is quite funny. It's so hard to act with yourself, let alone act, you know. But yes, I'm now ready to sort of start rehearsing. Well, I did a bit of rehearsing last night, I'll be honest, but I feel fresh and I feel ready to record this now. Just got to sort of play it through a couple of times and I'll turn the cameras on. And hopefully, like yesterday, I can find a point where I can say, yes, this is the perfect take. And then from that point on, I can relax. So anything I get after that is a bonus. I've got to go out about 2 o'clock and it's about 12:15 now. So hopefully, he said, through gritted teeth, it will work out in that time scale. So I'm going to crack on and see what happens. Take a moment to talk to you about reflection. Now, it seems like a bit of a strange thing to address in a situation like this where you've got a very intense time period, but reflection is so essential in this process for me. For those of you that don't know me, I meditate every single day and have done for about 4 years. Not only does it help with my anxiety, but it kind of frees me up creatively. It allows me to actually create regularly. So in these sort of high pressure situations where I'm trying to get the perfect take and I've got to film it at the same time, to me it emphasises the importance of being able to walk away. Or if you're frustrated, just knowing how much that will colour your perception of your own work. To me, I always try to apply mindfulness to my music because it allows me to be as objective as I possibly can, rather than going, oh, this is terrible because I've been doing this for ages and I'm really frustrated. Or likewise, if I'm in a really good mood, I'm actually likely to be slightly more lazy. Whereas if I'm right in the middle, I can sit in a situation like that for a couple of hours, churn out take after take, and then go, you know what, I'm happy with this. I'll come back to it later. This project ought to be actually renamed The Importance of Walking Away, or The Importance of Reflection, if you like. Even though this is a very tight time period, this sort of 7-day period, I honestly can't stress to you how much of that is reflection. There was a time recently when I wrote a song about how much I enjoy tea, and I said that it was a song in 7 hours. I did it as a nice little challenge for myself. And hand on heart, I was writing for about 2 hours out of that, and the rest of the time was me walking away, drinking a lot of tea and thinking about what I'd done and just sort of processing it. And that's so important in this scenario, rather than kind of rushing it and trying to do too much, you know. But also, drawing a line under things really helps with my perfectionism, you know. It allows me to put out more, and I think in the last few months I've put out more than I have in the last few years, and that's all to do with how I engage with reflection and just go, yeah, that's done, on we go to the next bit. So last night I did actually do a lot of reflecting. In fact, I did a number of things. So I repaired my typewriter, I had a bit of a chill with the dog, I ended up going out this morning with my mum and dad to get some more milk, another little adventure there, and believe it or not, it's snowing again. It seems to be a bit of a recurring theme in my vlogs. I think if it snows next month, we could start worrying about it, but I've known it snow in March here before, so not too concerned, even though it is a bit weird. I'm feeling really relaxed about the song. I'm actually feeling quite good about it. With it being just 2 guitars and 2 vocals, it's quite easy to mix, so really it's just about what I want to do with it rather than how I actually mix it. I can afford to be a little bit creative with it. There's a lot of space to play with in the mix, so that's great. It's really straightforward. I'll probably be done in the next couple of hours. Maybe won't even take me that long, I don't think. And I'll let Dumpling have a listen to it, and then it's done. It's going to be a case of releasing it. So here we are at the end of another songwriting journey. I have finished mixing the song. Dumpling does approve of it, even though he is grumbling a little bit. I think it's because of the snow. For whatever reason, he doesn't like the snow. I've decided to call the song Notes to Self. Oh, goodbye. Oh no, that one, he's just crawling into the sun. I've decided to call the song Notes to Self, which I think sort of fits the scheme of the song, because they are notes that I've made to myself, and also it's a play on the word note to self. It's been quite an interesting one, this. It feels very different to the last one, and I'm really pleased with it. Some bits have been easier, but actually the most important thing to me has been just the time to reflect on what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Look at me, look at the camera. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Breakfast at midday, straight from the bottle. Now let me guess, you love the way it feels. And after all this time, you think it should have been you. I remember when they told me you weren't all you were cracked up to be. The night you say I love you, I'll say I know. The night you say I love you, I'll say I know.